wondering what your position is as a progressive candidate in terms of supporting the Occupy movement.
Yes, what the movement has done is in effect to change the subject back to what we should be talking about. The Republicans in the right wing want us to talk about what the budget deficit might or might not be in the year 2032. That's a silly conversation. We need to recognize that that's a silly conversation. Many of us will not be alive in the year 2032, and there's no way to know what the budget deficit might be like. Maybe we'll be invaded by space aliens between now and then. And by the way, I hope that Fox doesn't get a hold of this tape. You just can't tell. But what you can tell is what's happening in the here and now. And the Occupy Wall Street movement has helped us to focus on the here and now and the things that everybody knows, but nobody is willing to talk about. There is, in fact, enormous inequality in this country. And it doesn't happen by chance. The system is rigged in favor of the rich, and the system is rigged in order to perpetuate their privileges. They have taken their privileges and destroyed 20% of our national net worth in the course of 18 months. If you look at the national net worth, according to the Federal Reserve figures, in the middle of 2007, we had this is the value of all the buildings and all the schools and all the cars and all the stocks and all the bonds and the clothes that you're wearing, everything that is saleable. Anything you can buy or sell in America. It was $62+ trillion with a year and a half to go in the Bush administration, and it was down to $50 trillion at the end of the Bush administration. And I would venture to say that the people who made that happen, none of them were librarians. None of them were firefighters. None of them were teachers. None of them were nurses. So Wall Street made the economy crash, and nobody's been held accountable for that. Not a single person on Wall Street has been indicted, much less convicted, in the greatest theft in the history of mankind. I'm not exaggerating. It's the greatest theft in the history of mankind. They got their bailouts. Everybody else got the shaft. And we all know it. Now finally the people on Occupy Wall Street are actually saying it. They're saying that we have a system that creates this enormous inequality that results in 24 million people who can't find a full-time job, that results in 50 million people who can't see a doctor when they're sick, that results in 47 million people who need government assistance in order to feed themselves. That's the result of inequality in this country. And now, for the first time, we're also talking about the fact that the political system caters to that inequality, caters to the top 1%. The Republican Party is a wholly owned subsidiary of corporate America, and the Democratic Party does way too many favors for corporate America and for Wall Street. So now, for the first time, it's actually okay to say, as I said on MSNBC a few weeks ago, that the United States has the 5th most unequal distribution of wealth in the world. And I said that on Rachel Maddow's show. Immediately got a call from PolitiFact after the show. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? That can't possibly be right. You got to prove that. And I did. I did prove it. And they were so surprised themselves that they actually, for once, said that what I said was true.
Jeez.
Caught them unawares. So now, you know, now suddenly there is that sort of space in the agora, the public space, where you can actually say things like that and have people actually listen. And that's a tremendous accomplishment already. What we talk about is the primary determinant of what actually happens. As I said before, it's been years since anybody said anything about global warming. And the result of that is that we're doing nothing about global warming. The situation is quite different in Australia. In Australia, they just passed a bill that has a carbon tax in it. They've been talking about it now for years. It is part of the public discourse, and therefore there was a concrete result.